Deep in the heart of a very special forest, there lived all sorts of creatures. This wasn't just any forest, you see. It was a place where magic lived in every tree and flower. The leaves whispered secrets to those who listened closely. The streams sang lullabies to the sleepy fish. Even the rocks had stories to tell if you knew how to ask them. In this forest, the air was always filled with a soft, sweet smell. It was like honey and fresh rain and warm sunshine all mixed together. The trees were so tall they seemed to touch the sky. Their branches reached out like friendly arms, ready to give hugs to anyone who needed one. At night, the forest glowed with tiny lights. These weren't fireflies, though. They were fairy lights, twinkling like little stars that had come down to play. During the day, butterflies as big as your hand fluttered from flower to flower. They left trails of sparkly dust wherever they went. This magical forest was home to many animals, but our story is about three very special friends. They didn't know they were going to be friends yet. In fact, they didn't even know each other. But the forest knew, and it had a plan to bring them together. In a cozy burrow beneath an old oak tree lived Molly the mole. Molly was a gentle soul with velvety fur and tiny paws perfect for digging. She loved her home underground, but sometimes she felt a bit lonely. You see, Molly had a secret. She loved to sing, but she was too shy to let anyone hear her. Every morning, Molly would wake up and tidy her little home. She'd fluff her moss pillows and sweep the floor with her tail. Then she'd sit down for a nice cup of dandelion tea. But as she sipped her tea, she'd feel a little ache in her heart. She wished she had someone to share her songs with.
Oh, how I wish I had someone to sing with.
Molly spent her days digging new tunnels and looking for tasty roots to eat. But no matter how busy she kept herself, she couldn't shake off that feeling of longing. Sometimes when she thought no one was listening, she'd hum a little tune. The earthworms would wiggle in time to her music, but they never said anything. They were polite like that. At night, Molly would curl up in her bed made of soft leaves. She'd close her eyes and dream of singing on a big stage. In her dreams, all the animals of the forest would cheer for her, but when she woke up, she was always alone again. Little did she know her life was about to change in a big way. Not far from Molly's burrow, in a hollow log by the babbling brook, lived Rascal the rat. Rascal was a cheerful fellow with bright eyes and a long, swishy tail. He was always full of energy and loved to explore. But Rascal had a secret too. He loved to dance, but he was afraid others might laugh at him. Every day, Rascal would scamper around the forest, collecting shiny things for his collection. He had bottle caps, pretty pebbles, and even a tiny mirror. But no matter how many treasures he found, he still felt like something was missing. He longed to dance and twirl and leap, but he didn't have anyone to dance with.
If only I had someone to dance with, it would be so much fun.
Sometimes, when he was sure no one was watching, Rascal would do a little jig. He'd tap his feet and swish his tail in time to the music he heard in his head. The flowers would sway along with him, but they never said anything. They were shy like that. At night, Rascal would curl up in his cozy log, wrapped in a blanket made from a fallen leaf. He'd dream of dancing on a big stage with spotlights shining on him. In his dreams, all the animals would clap and cheer, but when he woke up, he was always alone. Little did he know, adventure was just around the corner. High up in the branches of a willow tree, in a nest made of twigs and soft moss, lived Chirp the canary. Chirp was a tiny bird with feathers as yellow as sunshine. She had a beautiful voice and loved to sing. But Chirp had a problem. She was afraid of heights and couldn't fly very well. Every morning, Chirp would wake up and look out from her nest. She could see the whole forest from up there. But instead of making her happy, it made her feel scared. She wished she could explore the forest like the other birds, but she was too afraid to leave her safe little nest.
Oh, if only I could fly like the other birds and explore the forest.
Chirp spent her days singing to herself and watching the world go by. She'd see other birds flying and playing, and she'd feel a little sad. Sometimes she'd try to flap her wings and fly, but she never got very far before she'd get scared and fly back to her nest. The leaves would rustle encouragingly, but they never said anything. They were quiet like that. At night, Chirp would snuggle down in her nest and dream of flying high above the trees. In her dreams, she soared through the sky without any fear at all. But when she woke up, she was always back in her nest, too scared to fly. Little did she know her life was about to take an exciting turn. One day, something very strange happened in the enchanted Whispering Woods. A beautiful song began to play. It wasn't coming from any one place. It seemed to be coming from everywhere at once. The song was soft and sweet, but also a little bit sad. It made everyone who heard it feel like they needed to go on an adventure.
Molly the mole was the first to hear it. She poked her head out of her burrow and listened. The song made her heart feel light and fluttery. Without even thinking about it, she began to sing along. Her voice was clear and beautiful, and she didn't feel shy at all.
Rascal the rat heard the song too. He stopped collecting shiny things and stood very still. The song made his feet want to dance. Before he knew it, he was tapping his toes and swishing his tail. He didn't care if anyone saw him. The music made him feel brave and happy.
Even Chirp the canary heard the song way up in her nest. It made her feel like she could do anything. Without thinking, she spread her wings and flew out of her nest. She was so caught up in the music that she didn't even realize she was flying.
The song led all three of them to a clearing in the middle of the forest. In the clearing, Molly, Rascal, and Chirp met for the very first time. They were all a bit surprised to see each other. A mole, a rat, and a canary didn't seem like they would have much in common, but the magical song had brought them together for a reason.
"Hello," she said in a soft voice. "I'm Molly. I followed the song here."
Rascal nodded excitedly. I'm Rascal. I heard it too. It made me want to dance.
Chirp, who was hovering nearby, added, "And I'm Chirp. The song, it made me fly."
As they talked, they realized they all had something in common. They all had secret dreams that they were too afraid to share. Molly loved to sing, Rascal loved to dance, and Chirp wanted to explore. The magical song had given them the courage to do what they loved. Suddenly they heard a voice. It seemed to be coming from the trees themselves.
Brave friends, it said, you have been chosen for a special quest. Follow the song to the harmony tree. There your deepest wishes will be granted.
The three new friends looked at each other. They were a bit scared, but also excited. They knew that together they could do anything. The three new friends set off on their quest. The magical song led them deeper into the forest. The trees got taller and closer together. The path got darker and trickier. But Molly, Rascal, and Chirp didn't give up. They helped each other along the way.
When they came to a deep, dark hole, I knew just what to do. I dug a tunnel around it so we could all pass safely.
That was amazing, Molly.
Molly blushed, but she felt proud of herself.
I had an idea. I found some leaves and twigs and made a little raft. Hop on.
Chirp was scared of the water, but her friends encouraged her. Together they floated across the river.
I flew up high and looked around. I can see a path through the trees.
With Chirp guiding them from above, they made it through the dark part of the forest. As our friends journeyed on, they met all sorts of magical creatures. There was a grumpy old troll guarding a bridge. He wouldn't let them cross unless they could make him laugh.
I did a funny dance.
I sang a silly song.
And I did loop-de-loops in the air.
The troll laughed so hard he fell off the bridge. Next, they met a sad unicorn who had lost its sparkle. The unicorn's coat was grey instead of shimmery white. Our friends knew just what to do. They sang and danced and flew around the unicorn. Soon its coat began to sparkle again. The unicorn was so happy it gave them each a magic hair from its mane. Later they came across a group of fairies having a tea party. The fairies were upset because they had run out of sugar for their tea.
I remembered the sweet flower nectar I had packed for the journey. I shared it with the fairies, who were delighted.
As a thank you, they sprinkled the friends with fairy dust. Just when they thought they'd seen it all, they met a dragon. But this dragon wasn't scary. It was actually very small, about the size of a cat. The dragon was trying to breathe fire, but could only manage a puff of smoke.
We encouraged the little dragon, telling it to believe in itself.
With a mighty roar, the dragon finally breathed a tiny flame. It was so happy, it decided to join them on their quest. After many adventures, our friends finally reached the harmony tree. It was the biggest, most beautiful tree they had ever seen. Its leaves were every color of the rainbow, and it seemed to glow with an inner light. The magical song was coming from the tree itself. As they approached, the tree spoke to them.
Welcome, brave friends. You have shown great courage and kindness on your journey. Now it is time for your wishes to be granted. Step forward and touch my trunk, one at a time.
Molly went first. She placed her paw on the tree and closed her eyes. Suddenly, she felt all her shyness melt away. She opened her mouth and began to sing. Her voice was more beautiful than ever before. She knew she would never be afraid to sing again. Rascal was next. When he touched the tree, he felt a surge of confidence. He started to dance, leaping and twirling like never before. He realized that he didn't care if anyone laughed at him. Dancing made him happy, and that was all that mattered. Finally, it was Chirp's turn. She fluttered up to the harmony tree and gently touched it with her wing. Suddenly, she felt strong and brave. She soared high into the sky, doing loops and dives without any fear at all. She knew she would never be afraid of heights again. As our friends celebrated their new abilities, they realized something important. The real magic wasn't in the tree or the song. It was in the friendship they had formed. Together, they had faced their fears and overcome challenges. They had helped each other grow and change.
Remember, dear friends, the magic was inside you all along. You just needed each other to help you find it.
With that, the tree's glow faded, but the warmth in their hearts remained. From that day on, Molly, Rascal and Chirp were the best of friends. They had many more adventures together in the enchanted Whispering Woods. Molly sang for all the animals, Rascal taught everyone to dance, and Chirp explored every corner of the forest. And they always remembered that with true friends by your side, anything is possible. The end.